The Office of Social Studies welcomes you. Our office consists of Mr. John Billingsley, our director, Mrs. Carol Rook, our administrative secretary, Dr. Danny Bacoli, our secondary coordinator, Mr. Michael Crispins, our elementary coordinator, Miss Abir Shawali, our secondary resource teacher, and me, Miss Jerry Otto, elementary resource teacher.
Welcome to our Wheel of Election Knowledge. We're going to do some trivial questions and some facts about the election. Ready? Let's spin. Where will it land? Oh, it landed on the president.
The President of the United States leads the country. Presidents sign bills into laws. They make agreements with other countries. Presidents are in charge of the military. They also choose judges and other government officials.
So who will you vote for president? Let's spin again and see what will land on this time. Oh, we have a wild.
Voting makes people part of the government. In a democracy, people have the right to choose their leaders. On election day, citizens vote to choose leaders for their city, state, and country. To register to vote, you must be a U.S. citizen, a Maryland resident, and at least 16 years old.
Are you registered to vote? If not, don't worry, there'll be time later we'll tell you how to register. Trivia question.
The 15th Amendment was adopted in 1920, giving women the right to vote, and since 1964, more women voters have gone to the polls than male voters during presidential election years.
I sure am glad we have the right to vote. I'm certainly going to get out there and vote. Another trivia.
The 15th Amendment to the United States Constitution granted African American men the right to vote by declaring that the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or any state on account of race, color, or previous condition of servitude. Although ratified on February 3, 1870, the promise of the 15th Amendment would not be fully realized for almost a century. Through the use of poll taxes, literary tests, and other means, Southern states were able to effectively disenfranchise African Americans. It would take the passage of the Voting Rights Act of 1965 before the majority of African Americans in the South were registered to vote.
I'm glad that we all have the right to vote now. Let's see what we're going to land on this time. Oh, we're going to learn about the U.S. House of Representatives.
The U.S. House of Representatives makes and passes federal laws. The House is one of the Congress's two chambers, the other one is the U.S. Senate, and part of the federal government's legislative branch. The House of Representatives is made up of 435 elected members divided among the 50 states in proportion to their total population. In addition, there are 6 non-voting members representing the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and 4 other territories of the United States. The presiding officer of the chamber is the Speaker of the House, elected by the representatives. He or she is third in line of succession to the presidency. Members of the House are elected every 2 years and must be 25 years of age, a U.S. citizen for at least 7 years, and a resident of the state, but not necessarily the district they represent.
Oh, another wild card.
Why a Tuesday in November? In 1792,
Local officials designated this day as Election Day each year because this guaranteed that no more than 34 days would pass between the first Wednesday in December, which is when the Electoral College met to vote for the President and Vice President. An early November date will also consider a wise idea because it enabled more voters to go to the polls. Back then, most Americans were farmers, so this date ensured that farmers weren't trying to find time to vote during the busy harvest season. But the date wasn't so late in the year that voters needed to battle winter storms while they walked, rode horses, or drove buggies to the polls.
That was interesting. I had no idea why it was always the first Tuesday in November. Now I do. Let's learn about the vice president.
The modern vice presidency is a position of significant power and is widely seen as an integral part of the president's administration. While the exact nature of the role varies in each administration, most modern vice presidents serve as a key presidential advisor, governing partner, and representative of the president. The vice president is also an officer of the legislation branch. As president of the Senate, in his capacity, the vice president is empowered to preside over Senate deliberations, but may not vote except to cast a tie-breaking vote.
I wonder who our next vice president will be. Time for more trivia.
Gerald Ford is the only person who served as president and vice president without having been elected to either office.
Wow, that's interesting. How does that even happen? Another trivia.
Theodore Roosevelt was the youngest person to ever become president. He was only 42 years old, and as William McKinley's vice president, became president when McKinley was assassinated. President John F. Kennedy was the youngest to be elected to the office, aged 43 when he was elected. Who were the oldest presidents? Donald Trump is the oldest to be elected at age 70 years of age, while Ronald Reagan was the oldest to hold the office. He was 77 years old when his presidency came to a close.
Getting down, only 3 more choices. And a wild card it is.
What is an electoral college? It's the process Americans use to elect the president and vice president. The number of electors a state receives is equal to the state's number of U.S. senators and representatives. Those electors then gather to cast the state's votes in the electoral college. They vote for the candidate who won in their state during a presidential election.
Wild card or U.S. Senator? Let's see. Wild card it is.
What about that sticker? It is unclear when handing out stickers became a national trend, but U.S. voters are often seen bearing emblems with the words, "I voted," upon leaving a polling station. But Florida-based company National Campaign Supply claims to have designed the original sticker now used across the country. The company first began printing the "I voted" sticker nationwide in 1986. Researchers have suggested that the strange sticker tradition may play a psychological part in driving voter turnout. A recent study found that many voters cast a ballot so they could tell others they did. Some U.S. states even designed their own voting stickers. Georgia voters received stickers shaped like a peach referring to the state's moniker and official fruit. However, Maryland decided to have a contest in 2019 for a new sticker campaign. As you can see, we have 3 winners. One from elementary, the first one, and that came from a student in Montgomery County Public Schools. And then the second one came from a middle school student who also attended Montgomery County Public Schools. And the last one was a high school student from Queen Anne's County Public Schools. We did have some students who entered this contest and did come in the top 5.
I wonder what it'll land on this time. I'm thinking U.S. Senator. What do you think?
The job of a senator is to act on behalf of the American people in legislative sessions to ensure the voice of the common citizen is heard. Each of the 50 U.S. states has 2 Senate representatives, elected to 6-year terms by the people of each state. Senators' terms are staggered so that about 1/3 of the Senate is up for re-election every 2 years. Senators must be 30 years of age, U.S. citizens for at least 9 years, and residents of the state they represent. The Senate has the sole power to confirm those of the President's appointments that require consent and to ratify treaties. There are, however, 2 exceptions to this rule. The House must also approve appointments to the Vice Presidency and any treaty that involves foreign trade. The Senate also tries impeachment cases for federal officers referred to it by the House.
We hope you enjoyed playing our Wheel of Election Knowledge.
Okay, are you ready to vote? If you're going to vote on Election Day, registered voters in Maryland can look up where to vote on Maryland's site. That's https://votersservices.elections.maryland.gov/voter-search. If I went too fast, just search where to vote in Maryland in Google. If you're not available to vote on actual election day, you have options. You can vote early. Maryland voters can also vote before election day. The early voting period runs from Monday, October 26, 2020 to Monday, November 2nd, 2020, but dates and hours may vary based on where you live. You can also request a ballot. Using the link below, you can find out where to register to vote. You can find out anything you need to know, where the voting state places are. You can also request a ballot. Again, that's https://votersservices.elections.maryland.gov/voter-search. If I went too fast, just Google or any search engine where to vote in Maryland. See you at the polls.
Hope you enjoyed learning about the election process a little bit and what those candidates do. If you want to learn more about the candidates, go ahead and do some search on your own. And please encourage everyone to register to vote and get out and vote.
The election is all about choice. Now you can choose to help spread the word about the upcoming election. We need you to help people know when the election is and how they can register to vote if they're not registered. You can make a choice. You could either make a paper badge that can be attached to a shirt with tape or a safety pin. You could make a poster that can be hung in your home or in a window. You could make a reminder note to give to family members about the upcoming election. Please do your part. Here are a few examples just to get you motivated. Remember, you can make a button or a poster or just reminder notes to family and friends. Once you have one more thing to do, once you've made these, take a picture and get somebody to tweet at us. Use the hashtag BCPS-GoVote and tweet at Jerry Otto. Can't wait to see what you guys create.